President Biden finally announcing some sanctions on Russia yesterday, targeting Russian elites, sovereign debt, and financial institutions. He is warning Americans could also pay a big price.
As I said last week, defending freedom will have cost for us as well and here at home. But as we do this, I'm going to take robust action to make sure the pain of our sanctions is targeted at the Russian economy, not ours.
Joining me right now is Ronald Reagan Institute Director and former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense, Roger Zakheim. Roger, thanks very much for being here. Your reaction?
Well, I think the focus needs to be on punishing Vladimir Putin for his invasion of Ukraine. Yes, there could be an economic price that the West will have to pay, but it's a price worth paying for.
It seems like such a light touch. Some of these sanctions really stop short of real impact. I mean, it stops short of attacking Russia's oil and gas exports. The White House telling Americans to expect higher energy prices. But then they claim that the steps are being taken to try and reduce costs. Oil prices have already surged, and Wall Street is expecting the price of crude oil to hit $150 a barrel. This year, it's hitting Americans' wallets hard. The national average per gallon of gasoline is up $1 from a year ago, Roger. Is this going to keep on moving higher?
Well, listen, oil and gas, I mean, those prices were going up even before this crisis. That's a function of the Biden administration's energy policy. We need to increase production. We need to stop being reliant on despots and autocrats for our energy needs. I'm speaking about the United States, but also Europe. And we have to punish Vladimir Putin. This has to happen in the form of tougher sanctions, as you point out, and an air bridge providing munitions and military support to Ukraine. If the Ukrainians want to defend their freedom, if they want to fight for their freedom, we ought to help them.
Yeah, but there's more than that. I mean, look at these sanctions hitting these Russian banks. Those banks were already sanctioned back in 2014 for Putin's invasion of Crimea. So we're putting more sanctions on banks that already have sanctions? I mean, does this slow response and, some say too little too late response to Russia's aggression embolden China and Iran, our other adversaries that we're watching?
There's no doubt that China and Iran are watching. We need to go ahead and slap on more significant sanctions in the form of export controls and really making sure the economic sanctions, trade, finance are felt in Moscow. That hasn't happened. That needs to happen. I'm hearing that it could happen as soon as the end of this week. But going ahead and negotiating a deal with Iran as we're simultaneously dealing with the Russian invasion of Ukraine, somehow thinking that the Iranians are going to increase production of oil out of this deal and the world will benefit, only reinforces the bad actions and the bad policy decisions we made in the past. We have to stop being reliant on despots and autocrats for our energy needs.
Yeah, it's funny because Joe Biden keeps saying he doesn't want to have American families get impacted with higher oil prices, and yet all of his policies lead to higher oil prices, shutting down production in the United States, XL pipeline, and getting the United States back into an Iran deal, empowering Iranians as we're about to enter, apparently imminently, a new deal.
Yeah, I mean, going ahead and negotiating with Iran has its own challenges in the bilateral or the challenge of dealing with Iran malign influence in the Middle East. But as you point out, it's actually reinforcing bad policy globally as it relates to our energy needs and how it will impact the situation in Russia and more broadly how we deal with China. China's going to want to bail out Russia here. They're going to want to go ahead and buy Russian gas. And the reality is that we need to go ahead and be reliant on Western countries, democratic countries for our needs. Yeah. And to date, the Biden administration has not prioritized that in its energy policy.
All right, Roger. Great to get your insights. Thank you, sir. Roger Zakheim.